What's up, everybody? Undefeated Speaker here. Part two, today happens right now, of no more normal. After this pandemic, we cannot go back to normal. Today, I want to tell you about shockwaves. Now, I lived in LA, and one of the craziest things was not just the original earthquake, but it was those tremors. It was those shockwaves where it happened in one location, but we felt it in a different location. It happened 30 miles, 40 miles, 200 miles down in the Los Angeles or in a different part of California, and we felt it in Los Angeles rather. Even in Japan, if you think about it, there's an earthquake, but it's the tsunami. That water is those after effects. It's the shock wave that happens where it happened one place and we can feel it. Right now, we are having a cultural, racial, sociological shock wave experience that we're having. You might be thinking, I can't even make an impact. With all this, I was going back and forth with friends on how do we solve it. We're talking about police brutality, or we're talking about people not having jobs, or we're not talking about people not listening. I mean, are all these things. We're talking about literacy and voting, and all of them need to happen. All of them need to be addressed. It's not just one thing to fix America. It's not one thing to fix our country, our society, our world. It's multiple things need to happen, right? Here's where you come in. Maybe things didn't get you as riled up before the pandemic. You were busy. You didn't notice it. And that's okay. Maybe things didn't inspire you as much because you were busy. You had your own bills. You had your own relationship issues. But now this is a very sobering effect to feel something that happens in Atlanta, that happens in Michigan, that happens in Detroit, or wherever the case is, which is also Michigan, I get that. But being able to feel something online, through social media, through wherever it is, and saying, it happened there, it happened, but I felt it here, and I'm enraged, and I cannot sit still. These are shockwaves. My challenge to you now is to not go back to your normal and just to have a passersby mentality, but to get involved. Whether that's mentoring somebody, whether that's reaching out to the needy or the less fortunate, whether that's getting involved in politics, What can you do now when this pandemic is over to not go back to normal? Now, I think that the world is a pond, or even our culture is just a pond. If you were to take a big old boulder, a huge boulder, and throw it, cast it into that pond, what happens? It's going to make a big splash. You're saying, well, I'm not that person. I only have 200 followers. No one's listening to me. I only have 4 friends. No one's, whatever the case. So you may think you're small. Okay, cool. All right. So maybe you're not a big boulder. Okay. What about a big rock? If I throw that rock in, it's going to have a smaller splash, but it's going to still make an impact. And you say, I can't even do that. Okay. What if I take a little pebble and I take that little pebble and I throw it into the pond? What happens then? You'll say, well, I see little ripples. I see little shock waves made after the impact of this pebble hitting the water. You can make an impact in people's lives. Scratch that. You are already making an impact in people's lives. What kind of impact are you making? What kind of impact do you want to make in people's lives? No matter how many friends you have, no matter how much money you have, whatever you think your circle of influence is, right now, today, decide this weekend, this month, before this is all over, that you're not going to go back to your sense of normalcy. You're going to go back to something you've never even been to now. You're going to go to this new way of saying, okay, I can make an impact regardless of what I've done before, or small this or that. I don't have no. Be the pebble. Just be the pebble, and you make that impact. And there are ripples. There are shockwaves. Oh my gosh. I bet you just post one little thing, you can change somebody's life. You can, because of the little thing, the one little random thing you said, it can make somebody laugh. It can give them some sense of hope, some sense of inspiration. One little thing. Maybe you're tweeting something, or whatever the case is, or maybe it's a phone call. Maybe it's a text. You know that. You've been in places before where somebody called you out the blue and that you just needed that phone call from that person or that text, that one little thing. I remember being in a bad spot, had surgery 2010, and I remember reading a post on Facebook from somebody I casually followed, didn't even really know them, and it shifted my whole life. She didn't even know she was talking to me. She didn't even know it. And it just caused me to get up out of my bed, get my crutches, and go to somebody who I was having issues with to work on our friendship. One little post, one small little post, she probably didn't even think anything of it. The little pebble caused a ripple effect. What kind of impact are you going to make today? We can't go back to normal.